This conference will now be recorded.
Uh, Hello again. Hello all. Maybe I shared my screen and my if my voices are not audible, kindly ping in our group chat or in our WhatsApp chat actually. So we'll rectify it up. So I hope my screen is visible. You can see my Firefox window actually. So let's tune it back actually. Yep. So just a recap of yesterday, like what we have seen so far. So just again a short introduction about myself. So I am Arvind. So I'll be taking up the Cypress automation session for you. And yesterday was a demo session, and quite a lot of folks attended the session. And this is a continuation of it, and this is a regular session. Okay, start of our regular session. And yes, so we saw like a lot of things that are happening through the Cypress and what we can do, what we cannot do. And we saw some basics about how to run the script and stuffs. So there are still in-depth concepts available. So to proceed on with that, we need to get start with the Cypress. So our first topic that we are going to deal with Cypress is JavaScript. Okay, so that's going to be our first topic that we are going to deal with it. So we call it as your JavaScript. So why a scripting language that we are going to do first, not the Cypress? Okay, so why a scripting language is like say the first intention of why we are doing a scripting language is like say we need to go from the basics. So that's our first motive. And there might be some people who might not be aware about the coding languages actually. So and this will be like an eye opener for them. It's like how a coding language will look like and what we can do with the coding language and stuff. So all these things will be helpful for them. And this is also a general audience topic as well, because when you go to any interviews or anything, so they don't just ask about the what tool you have used and all those stuffs about. They need some person to think logically and write the code logically to prove to the organization or to the particular concern that you're worthy of the particular role they are offering for. So for that to know, basically we need to have some basic understanding about what coding language we are dealing with. Okay, so I know like few people personally, they are very good in the particular tool, but when it comes to the coding part, so they are not that great actually. So this is only till the filtration of your interviews, not to judge by the a book actually, I would say. So always like say people will look forward for some people who is good at some analytical skills and logical thinking. And this is a kind of a session so where we are going to provide around like 5 to 7 sessions. Okay, and to discuss about the JavaScript part, like what we can do, what a JavaScript can do, and what does a JavaScript with Cypress can do about. Okay, so we'll be discussing all these parts. So to run a script in Cypress, we need to have some basic understanding of JavaScripts. So I will tell you like say what are the core concepts that is required for your JavaScript. Okay, so these are the areas in which mostly the interviewers will be focusing upon it, and you also need to focus because Cypress focuses on these particular concepts. So one is like say we can call it as declaration. Sorry. So one is like say I would say it as declaration of variables. Okay, and what is functions. Okay, and the types of functions, and also we need to know about something called your promises in JavaScript. So whenever I mention JS, it's nothing but your JavaScript, and async slash await in JS. Okay, so these are the core concepts actually that you need to be aware about it. So without these concepts, you cannot understand your Cypress. So just make a note of this, and all your interview questions will be based on these particular items. So only if you know these concepts, like you'll be able to crack some interviews and you'll be move ahead with that. Okay, so just be, it's like a simple topics only, not a complex one, I would say. Like say, I know like few people are already into Selenium and Playwright and Test Leaf and all those Test Cafe and all those stuffs. So when you know that particular programming language, so you can easily compare it with the JavaScript and you can try to read through it. But uh, take my words, like JavaScript is quite confusing programming language. It's not a pretty straightforward as Java or C Sharp or something. So it's a pretty, I would say, a confused language, and as well as like it has its own way of definitions and all those stuffs. So you need to try to adapt towards it. So you can do a comparison with Java, C Sharp, and everything. But when you do a comparison, you'll get a clarity. But it's not the same language as you think about, same as that of Java or C Sharp. It's a quite different language, and people tend to love this language a lot quite recently, actually, I would say. JavaScript and TypeScript, so that's wherein like a lot of frameworks came into picture. So I would say, like say, just every day half an hour, just have some walkthrough on that topics that we are dealing it today, so it should be fine, well enough. Okay, so okay, Geeta, if you're writing something, I cannot see. Is my editor visible, like BB edit, where you can see declaration of variables, what is a function and types of function, promise in JS, async await in JS? So is it for everyone or like it's only for Geeta? Maybe you can just ping it in the chat if you don't mind. Okay, so thanks for the response, Manish and Rani. So Geeta, can, if you don't mind, can you disconnect and rejoin actually? Because I think there might be some internet issues. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for understanding. Okay, so let's quickly jump into JavaScript. So first, let's start with the basics, I would say. So let's start with the basics. So basics in the sense, like say, let's see like what we can do with JS and how to run a JS. Okay, and is there any prerequisites for JS to run on to run? Okay, so I would say like this as the first question. Okay, so is there any prerequisite to for JS to run? So absolutely no. I would say no. So if you have your laptop or a desktop in any browser, that's it. It's fine. So there is no prerequisite, there is no installation required for you to run a JS. It's just you need your laptop and it's fine. And a browser, I would say. Any browser. So if you're sticking onto Chrome, it's well enough actually. If you don't have a Chrome, if you have some Firefox or other things, that's also fine. So just you need some browser and some editor, that should be fine. Okay, so there is no installation required for it. If you have your laptop and a browser, that should be very well enough. Okay, so the next question, what we can do with JS and how to run your JS. So this is an elaborated concept, so let's see how to do all these things. So first, to understand the JS, okay, so this is going to be the topic of discussion. So that is nothing but today we are going to see about introduction to JavaScript. Okay, so let's see what is a JavaScript is about. I hope my slide is visible. If it is not, kindly let me know. So JavaScript is an object-based scripting language which is lightweight and cross-platform. So as you can see, it's a lightweight. That means, as I told you, no specific software is required to be installed to run your JS on your laptop, desktop, and it's a cross-platform. So you can have your Linux, Mac, Windows, Edge, Chrome, Firefox. Maybe some people might still use Internet Explorer older version. So even that is also compatible for your JavaScript. So it is language depend independent, I would say, and it's a cross platform. So language, not sorry, not the language, it's a platform independent, and it's a lightweight. And how does the basically a JavaScript work with any browser? So we call this as your JavaScript translator. So which is already or existingly embedded inside your browser, which is responsible to convert your JavaScript code to your browser understandable language. Okay, so it is an interpreted full-fledged programming language that enables dynamic interactivity on websites when applied to a HTML. So any website that you have, maybe for example, it's going to be an Amazon.com or something. So if you just go to the three dots, more tools, developer tools, and go to the element section. So this is what this is referring to. Okay, so when I just click over here, or when I right click and inspect it, so these are the HTML items which is available for a particular website, and this website will enable us to, or enable it to run it. Okay, so that's what we call it as your, it's an interpreted full-fledged programming language that enables dynamic interactivity on websites when applied to a HTML. So this page source part which is available in the amazon.com is nothing but your HTML. Okay, so for this you don't need to have an in-depth knowledge of HTML, because we are not going to develop an application, we are just going to test your application. Development knowledge, if you have an understanding, it should be fine, but it's not a mandatory, I would tell. Okay, so it's a simple and easy language actually. So let's see how we can do it about. Okay, so any doubts still here so far? Just I'll pause for a few seconds. Okay, so no doubts. So let's proceed on to it. Okay, so let's see our slides. Okay, so with JavaScript, user can build a modern web application and interact directly without reloading the page every time. So I don't know how many of you have noticed this one actually. Quite lately, like what happened is like previously, uh, when you try to submit a form, you have like particular text fields available, radio button available, everything available. So assume a scenario like, say, one of the text box that you have entered is not right. So you'll delete the entire text box and then you need to retype it. So in that case, sometimes what happens is like the entire page will become loading it for you again. So this is the nature of a normal website which is not built on your JavaScript. But when you have your JavaScript available, this feature will not have it, or it will not run like this. So what will happen is like, say, when you clear the text box, the text box field alone will refresh, not the entire page. So this is happening in the current scenario, in the current world. Why? Because all the application now has been moved towards your JavaScript, and there is certain JavaScript standards which we call it as ECMA standards. So I think like till now it's like 15 or 16 available as part of JavaScript. So let me confirm it actually. ECMA script. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, I think so far. mm, Latest version. Yeah. Okay, so let me quickly check it up. What is the latest version? I would say Mm, 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 mm. So it says ECMA 262, but usually it's like 15 or 16, something like that. It comes into picture. So let me confirm you with that actually. So yeah, you can see it 14 released or 13 released, something like that. Ah, yeah, this is a version history that I was referring to. So June 20, yeah, it's the 14th edition actually. Yeah. So that is the last one updated in June 2023 actually. And that is the last version. So usually it comes like 14th, 15th, 16th and all those stuffs. So these are the ECMA JavaScript versions which will be available. So yeah, that is about it actually. So it's like the last version is the 14th edition. So and still the development will be going. So if there is any standards that needs to be set or any new functionalities that needs to be introduced in JavaScript, it's going to be this committee which we call it as ECMA script community. Okay, so without this community, the JavaScript doesn't work. Okay, because they set the standard. How Oracle is for Java, the ECMA is for your JavaScript. Okay, so this is how it works, and basically all the JavaScript is written in a particular file which has an extension JS. Okay, okay, it has an extension called JS which will help us to run the script. Okay, to run the JS script there are different forms which we'll be covering it in a couple of minutes. Okay, so and let's see what are the features available in JavaScript. All popular web browsers support JavaScript as they provide built-in execution environment. So JavaScript follows the syntax and structure of C programming language. Thus it's a structured programming language. So JavaScript is weakly typed. Okay, so this is a more important concept because JavaScript is not a proper programming language. It's basically a scripting language which allows you to script something on a web application. So it's not a oops oriented programming language, it's just a scripting language. Simple as it is. Okay, so it's just a scripting language, and basically JavaScript deals with something called your prototypes rather than using something called your inheritance. So just a quick question to you guys, like how many of you are aware about the oops concept? OOPS, oops concept. A quick 60 seconds, maybe you can answer it yes or no in the chat. Okay, so thanks Abhishek. Yes. Okay, yes, yes. Okay. Okay, so Rani, no. So no problem. So it's just a simple programming concept actually, but sorry for it. JavaScript doesn't allow or doesn't support most of your OOPS concept actually. So, but there is a roundabout way to implement it. So let's see how to do it up in the upcoming sessions. Okay, so those who are in an impression like JavaScript can support oops concept, it can support to a certain extent but not all the concepts. Okay, so it's not a proper programming language, it has certain pros and cons with that. So let's see how does it work. Yeah, okay, so I hope that is clear to you. So it's not a proper programming language, so it has its own set of pros and cons which we need to mitigate it up. Okay, So, so now the next one would be like say, so it's a lightweight and it's case sensitive. Yeah, more importantly, it's case sensitive. There is a difference actually how you represent the name and the case sensitive. And JavaScript is supportable in several operating system. As I told you, it doesn't care about any OS or something, as long as you have the browser. So it should be fine. Okay. So this is how basically it will be working. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so before going to the usage, the practical part of it, so is there any doubt over here so far till now? Any doubts or something? Okay, just I'll pause for a few seconds so that you can think through it. If there is some doubts or something, just to let me know. Okay. Yeah. I think there's is no doubt actually. So everything is fine so far. So let's continue with this actually. So let's see what is the next topic. So this is going to be the practical implementation, like how we are going to do about it. So what is the practical implication and how we can do it about. So as you can see it, we have like three ways to implement. I would say like say elaborately a four ways to implement this particular feature. So let's see what are those ways actually. So one is like within the script tag. Okay, so first things first, let's not go by this one actually, so we'll slowly jump to this usage actually. First, I think like I hope like everyone have your laptops or something with you, so you can open your browser, I would say. So for example, I'm opening my Chrome browser, so I just go to this website which we recently opened it, and go to the more tools, developer tools, and you can see something called your console available, which I'm highlighting with my mouse now. So here you can type your JavaScript. This is the first simplest way. So there is no more simpler way than this. You don't need to do anything, you just need to have a browser. And similarly, if you have your Firefox or something, no problem. Again the same way, go to more tools. So this is a Firefox, more tools. Where is it? Web developer tool. So again there is a console available. You can also type it over here as well. So there shouldn't be any issues. Okay. So just for example, how to type it, I'm just showing it to you actually. So just we'll also see this elaborately. Okay. So just for your understanding sake, I'm just giving it anything and everything inside your JavaScript is declared it as a var. And then you can provide a variable name for it, like say a. Okay, so I'm going to do an addition operation is equal to 1. So this is how I assign it. Then I need to go to the next step. So what I do, I shift and enter and I go to the next step. Then I can give var again b is equal to 2. Then again var of result, which is equal to a plus b. Okay, then if you want to get the output, so usually in C sharp we have console.log, and Java we have system.out.println. So here we have in C sharp we have console.writeLine, read line actually. So write line, so here we have console.log, and within that you can provide the result, and then you can press on the enter, so you get your result over here. So this is how normally or generally a JavaScript works. So we have a general way of definition called var. So var is denoting any element that you want to assign the type of it. For example, in other programming languages, if you want to refer to a string or refer to a integer, so you usually represent a string of a, and if it is going to be a number, integer int or integer of b, something like that. But here in JavaScript there is no segregation as it is like that. It just has something called your var. That's it for now, but there are few more other items as well which we'll be deriving it soon. So the other segregations are var, let, and const, but for now we'll stick it on to var. Okay, so var means variable, so it can accept any variable whether it's an integer or it's a string, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it needs to be like a variable, that's it. Okay, so any doubts here so far, the first approach how we do it? Okay, so I'll pause for a few seconds. Okay, so I don't see any doubts. If you want to just post it in the chat also, you can post it. No problem. Okay, so no doubt so far. So this is the first approach, and easiest approach. No, nothing is required for us. So just you need to open your browser, go to the developer tool, go to the console window, and just start type it. That's it. This is how it works. Okay. So let's go for the next step. Next step, what we are going to do about. So next step would be like say, just let us shift from over here to Visual Studio Code. Okay. So let me close all these things. I don't want all these things. So let me close everything and let me quit the application and reopen it for you. So this is the tool or the editor that we are going to use about, which we call it as a Visual Studio Code. So this is an open source and easily downloadable, so no need to pay license or anything. So you can search by going to Google VS Code installation, okay, for Windows or Mac, anything. So it is compatible. Okay, so you have Mac, Linux, and Windows over here. So depending upon your system, you can download it. Okay, so let me put this in the chat over here. Okay, so and also like if people are doing simultaneously along with me, just for your reference in the GoToMeeting, so you can download it from over here. It's a very simple installation, not a complex one, I would say. Just download it, click next, and it should work. Okay, for your Windows. Mac, as usual, you need to drag and drop the DMG file, and it should be fine. Okay, so this is how we need to download it. So here the first approach I would use is like say you can there is a welcome screen available. So what you need to do beside the welcome screen, just do a double click. You can get an untitled -1. So that means it has created a notepad kind of stuff where you can write the things. So here what we will do it is like the first thing. Since it's a HTML, right, as I told you. So first let's type HTML over here, and let's have a close bracket HTML over here, and let's save it as some index.html or any file. Okay, so let me go to the JavaScript over here. Okay, so let me go to the rough folder, js file.html, save it. Okay, and then what you need to do it out over here is like say whatever you typed it inside the browser, like say over here. So entire thing, if you want to run it, just copy it. So always your JavaScript runs under your tag called script tag. Okay, okay, so always it runs under your script tag. So you need to have a dash slash script. So and then you can put your coding inside this script tag, open and close bracket of your script tag. For example, slash rept script. Okay, so just I can put it as a raw over here, nothing much. So this is just to make you understand how does your JavaScript will work. Okay, let me save it. Go to your file. Okay, documents, JavaScript. Okay, and where is the folder? Rough folder, JS file. Just right click, open in Google Chrome. So nothing basically happens, but what you can do it is like go to the more tools, developer tools, and inside the console you can see the result will be available, and you can see from which file, js file.html, and the line number 6. So let's make sure it is line number 6. Yes, it is line number 6. So always a JavaScript, if you're running it or if you want to see the result set of it, so this is one of the ways. Okay, put it in a HTML file, open it in any browser, and go to the console. Whatever you try to print it under console.log, it should be available. For example, if I want to mention something over here, so this is my result. Okay, something like this. Give a comma, and it should be fine. Save it. No need to do anything. Just refresh it. You just get the particular result. This is how it works. Okay, so this is the second simplest way. Okay, write everything inside within the script tag and it should be working fine. Okay, open it inside a HTML and it should be fine. Okay, so any doubts still here so far? So these are all the basics I would tell. Okay, very basic level. So how to run your JavaScript actually inside a browser. So you don't need any specific editor, so just you have your browser and it should be well enough. Okay, so now let's go to the next item, I would say. Okay, so what is the next item that we are going to deal about, or next item how we are going to run it? So some people, what they do it is like they find difficulty in opening the HTML and then putting the script and then running it up. So that's wherein, like, say your Visual Studio Code has certain plugins where you can make sure, like, say the Visual Code Studio Code runs the same way as that of any editor like Java or your C Sharp to run your JavaScript. Okay, so let's see what is a plugin. So go to your Visual Studio Code, and over here there is something called your extensions. Go to the extensions, and here what we can do it is like search for something called code runner. Okay, so over here you can see the code runner is compatible to run all these scripts. Okay, so I already installed it. If you don't install, you will find a button like this over here. Just click on it and it will be installed. So this code runner, once you install it, you need to restart your Visual Studio Code. Then you can find a button like this at the corner, top right corner. Okay, so this will enable you to run it, but this will run only a JS file. Okay, for example, I've installed this one, so let me copy this code. Okay, click a new one, paste it, but I need to save it in the right extension. So do a control S, and save it as, like, say, sample code .js. Make sure it is .js and click on save. That's it. Now the code is ready. Correct, right? Just make sure you run this one, run code. You get your result. So this is the very easiest and simplest way to run your JavaScript. Okay. So any doubts here so far till now? If somebody is doing simultaneously, if you face issues, kindly let me know. Okay. So any coding, anything like this VS Code will be able to do it. It's a very good editor, I would say. So just make sure you use the best usage of it. Okay. So any doubts here so far? Okay. So I hope no doubts. Let's proceed further actually. So we were seeing something like a HTML file. So let's get back to the JavaScript. So within the script tag, so the script tag can be within head or body. So let's make sure. So this is a point. Okay. Head tag, within head tag. It should be like within head tag, or it can be also like, say, within body tag, or it can be within HTML tag anywhere, but it should be within the script tag to run it up. Okay. And also one more thing, use of alerts and pop-ups. So how many of you can differentiate between okay, so before that, can you show one more time to add the jar file for no need to have a jar file. It's just an extension. So you go to your Visual Studio Code. So you can see at the left corner these many options are available. So just there is a brick symbol over here. Just click on it, which we call it as your extension, and it will be showing something like this. Okay, the total extensions available. Just search for something called your code runner and click on enter, and you get your code runner available, and you can install it over here. I already installed, so it is showing uninstall. So you can just click on install and it should be fine. Yeah, I think this okay, fine then. Yeah, I think she got it. Yeah, thank you. So now let's go for the next one actually. So use of alerts and pop-ups. So this concept again we'll see when we see the web application or how to handle your items inside your what is it inside your application. So there also the same concept will come, but let's see, this is going to be like, say we are going to create a pop-up. Okay, so we are going to create a pop-up. So what we are going to create a pop-up is like, say I would convert this JS file script from console.log to alert. That's it. Save it, go to the specific file, refresh it. Now you get this pop-up. But in the pop-up, do you see something which is not right? Can you point me what is the wrong over here? Maybe anyone? Is there any difference? Is there something wrong over here? So anyone, maybe you can ping it in the chat or unmute yourself. So do you see some difference over here? Okay, so no problem, I'll tell you. When we change it to alert, you can see you're not getting the result as 3. Correct, right? So we don't see the result as 3. We just see a pop-up and that's it. So what about the result? Okay, so that's a catch over here. So you need to go to Visual Studio Code, replace the comma by plus. Save it, go over here, refresh it. Now you get the result. 3. So this is what we call it as your JavaScript alert box or alert pop-up. Okay, so how we did it? So previously you can see there is something called okay. So let me see show the history to you. What we changed. Okay, so it doesn't come in history. No problem. Okay, so no problem. So previously how it was looking like, let me do a control Z actually. So when I do a control Z, we had a comma and we have a console.log. So if this was there, basically what happened is like, say in your Chrome, we were able to see the result only in the console. But we changed the console.log to alert and we changed the comma to plus. Save it, refresh it. Now you get the pop-up. This is what the simple as it is, we did it. Okay, this is how it works. So this is the concept of your how to run it as a alert.popup file. Okay, and now the next one. Okay, the last one. So how using an external file. So you can see we have created something over here, sample code.js. Correct, right? This sample code.js is nothing but it's a .js file. Okay, so this .js file we can pull it inside your HTML as well. So how do we pull it up? Okay, so how do we pull it back? So how do we pull it back is like say, so you need to have for this HTML file. Okay, so let me pull in the script that I already have it from the day zero. Okay, oh, sorry. That is the VS Code. It's code here. So as you can see it, okay. So as you can see it, I have the script tag and I write everything inside the script tag, and the script tag is inside your head, and the head is inside your HTML. Yes. So here I've written a short code or a short HTML. So what we do over here, the script, we have something called a type is equal to text slash JavaScript. So we are notifying it, we are writing the type of the script as text and JavaScript. So that means it's as a JavaScript file. And then what we do it is like we are going to pull in the code over here, or that means we are going to pull in the file over here. So to pull in the file over here, sorry, this is not the one. Let me open it in another one. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. So you can see it. I've created a sample message.js. So it is over here. So let me open it in the Visual Studio Code simultaneously. Okay. So I created a file called index1.html. So over here I have a script tag which is available inside your head. Okay. Okay, so we have something called a script and text and JavaScript and sample message.js. So this is the name of the file. So inside the sample message.js, you can see I've written something. This is what we call it as a function in JavaScript. Okay, so this is just a small introduction to you. Okay, the function is nothing but it's a method or a piece of logic which is going to be executable format. So this format is something like, say we call this as your named function. So it needs to have something called what is it, a keyword over here called function, and then you can provide the name of the function. Your name of the function can be anything: msg check, msg check2, abc xyz, anything it can be there, any meaningful word, and then the logic that you need to execute it. So here I'm using something called alert. This is a JavaScript alert. Okay, so this is the file name called sample message.js, and inside that I have just a function. So this is not like other programming languages. You don't need to have a class, you don't need to have any import statements or any such kind of things over here in JavaScript. Just you need to have a .js file, and inside that you need to have some functions written. That's it. Okay, and here you can see the function msg check and then the alert. And in index1.html you can see I have denoted it as a script. What is the type? Text and the JavaScript is mandatory, this type. Okay, this references to the particular file. So and src is again a mandatory. So what is src is nothing but your source. So this references to another .js file. Okay, so you can see sample message.js, the same message.js will be available here. Then I need to invoke the function inside this .js file somewhere. For that only what I did over here is like I created a form. So this is a HTML language where you can create a form actually, and it should have something called an input. And what is the type of input? It's a button, and and the value click is nothing but it can be anything over here. It can be click me, click you, or anything, any name that you want to denote it. And on click is nothing but it's a JavaScript event. On clicking on the button, what it should happen? I'm trying to invoke this message check, which is available over here inside the .js file. So what happens over here? So let me save it. Let's go over here, click close this one. So let me open this index1.html. So let me open it in Chrome. Okay, so here we have welcome to JavaScript tutorial. So from where this is coming from? Here, welcome to JavaScript tutorial. Okay, and click me, whatever I did over here, or like say we can change it to click you as well. Save it, refresh it, you can see it's changed. But type is a button, so that's why it is available over there. So when I do a on click, you can see this is a JavaScript alert. So that means this on click event will take this method and it will execute it. So this is the third way how you can execute it with the help of a external file into a HTML. So any doubts here so far till now? I'll pause for a minute, can think through it. So any doubts here so far? Before we go to the last concept for the day, there is a fourth way available. And that's again one more easiest way I would tell. Okay, so I hope no doubts are there. So let's go or jump into the last way how to do it up for today. Okay, so let's go over here. So no need any such kind of things over here. I don't need Visual Studio, I don't need nothing. But what I need is like say I need to install my Node.js. Okay, so I hope you remember how to install your Node.js. Just go to google.com, we can give Node.js download, enter it, and download Node.js will be available. And depending upon Mac or Windows, you can click it, run through it, install it up. That's it. Okay, and I hope you remember how to see the version. Okay, of your Node.js. So this is my Mac. I go to my terminal. If it's a Windows, you need to go to your command prompt. Okay, and then you need to give node space double hyphen version or npm space double hyphen version. If it gives this, then we are good. Then how to invoke it up? So you need to give node space the name of the file. But here no need to provide the index.js. We are going to provide the sample message.js. Let's see what happens. So I'll go to the get info. This is the one, control V, but I need to specify the file name. So you can see sample message.js and click on enter. So you can see nothing happened. So why nothing happened? So let's try to open the sample.js message and check it up, because it's an alert. Alert works only for your browser, but when it comes to a coding standpoint of view, let's copy this one, paste it, rename the alert to console.log, save it. Okay, and again you need to invoke this function at the bottom because it's a function. You need to invoke it, save it over here, and let's go to the terminal, execute it again. You can see the error comes, alert is not defined. Basically, alert is not identifiable. Okay, so let's go again to comment it out. Just comment it like this. Save it. Let's rerun it. You can see the message. This is a JavaScript alert. So now you might have come to an assumption, or now you might have understood, when you're working on a browser, alert is required, and when you're working on a scripting part, only the console.log will work. Okay, and always you need to invoke the function again in order to execute it. So you might assume, like, say, why I did this. So we are invoking the method, or you can call it as a function, to run it, to execute it technically. This is how it works. N number of times you can do, it will do the same job again and again. This is how it works. But if you want to do this again on the code runner, simple. Clear this one out, execute it, you get it. So whichever is feasible way for you, you can run it up either through the code runner over here, clicking on the play button, or installing the, anyhow you need to install your Node.js for Cypress. So you can do it with the Node.js as well. Okay, so this is all I had for today. The basics about your JavaScript, how to execute your first script. Okay, so still we have, like, say, 4 minutes. Any doubts are welcomed over here for now. If you have no doubts, feel free to drop off and we can meet up again tomorrow with a further topics for JavaScript. And once again, people who are dropping off, like, thanks again for attending the session. And yeah, so it was nice interacting with you. Yeah, hope to see you tomorrow as well. Yeah. Okay, so if there is no doubts, like, yep, have a good evening, and let's meet up again tomorrow with a new topic. Thank you all, and have a great evening and have a good rest of the day. Thank you so much.